Okay. Okay, we'll start now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Udirayat. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं चैतन्यमीश्वरम् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna. So we are really fortunate have your association for quite some time. Now we have finished, not finished, we studied yeah, up to chapter 10. So we are moving forward chapter 11 today. Now, really wonderful, very happy. So Lord Krishna enters into Dwaraka. So with this chapter, we'll also pray to the Supreme Lord Personality. Please enter into our heart, enter into our life, so that our life also becomes perfection. So with that prayer, let's start reading Bhagavatam. Let's try to discuss few points today. Yeah, who is going to read Sloka 1?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji. Sutta Uvacha.
Sutta Uvacha Anatansa Upavrajya Svatan Janapadan Swakan Dadmaudharavaran Tesham Vishadam Samayan Iva.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation and purport by Srila
Prabhupada.
His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation Sutta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anarthas, Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious counsel, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Purport: the beloved Lord was away from his own prosperous metropolis of Dwarka for a considerable long period because of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus all the inhabitants were overcome with melancholy due to the separation. When the Lord descends on the earth, his eternal associates also come with him, just as the entourage of a king accompanies him. Such associates of the Lord are eternally liberated souls, and they cannot bear the separation of the Lord even for a moment because of the intense affection for the Lord. Thus, the inhabitants of the cities of Dwarka were in mood of dejection and expected the arrival of the Lord at any moment. So the hurtling sound of the auspicious counsel was very encouraging, and apparently the sound pacified their dejection. They were still more aspirant to see the Lord amongst themselves, and all of them became alert to receive him in the befitting manner. These are the signs of spontaneous love of Godhead. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wonderful. Now, Sutta Goswami further narrating. So, Lord has, upon reaching the border of the most prosperous metropolis, he says, Anarthan, not Anarthan, is Anarthan. Anarthan means Dwaraka. So, and Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently purifying the dejection of inhabitants. So this conch shell is a key point here also, because conch shell, which is very, very auspicious, scientifically people may say that is dead body, but spiritually it's a very, very small auspicious. That sound vibration coming from that removes all the negative energy. Here also, Lord himself, blowing the conch shell, and is kind of giving the indication that is arrival. Similarly, when in the temples, the Lord's darshan, the pujari blows the conch shell, so that Lord's darshan, devotees are ready to hear, to see the Lord. Similarly, in our day-to-day life also, the conch shell blowing helps to remove the negative energy and bring the auspiciousness in the house. So that's why always, wherever possible, we should keep that conch shell blowing daily, at least twice, at least morning and evening when the arati happens. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about beloved Lord was away from his own prosperous metropolis for quite considerable time because of the Kurukshetra war. So because Lord was away, devotees were morose, devotees were rejected, because where there is no personality of Supreme Lord, devotees are not happy. So that's why when the Lord comes back, all the devotees gets energy. They are really enthusiastic to see the Lord and serve him. Prabhupada says, when the Lord descends on the earth, his eternal associates also come along, and just as an entourage of king accompanies him. Prabhupada gives a nice analogy, like when the king comes, the ministers, secretaries, armies, everybody comes. He doesn't go alone. Whereas similarly, Supreme Lord doesn't come alone. All his associates, devatas, everybody comes. Devatas may take birth in a different forms, but all pure devotees are there with the Supreme Lord. We can see that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's case also. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, all the devatas, even Supreme Lord himself, like Balram, Sadashiva, Narada Muni, Srimati Radharani, everybody as a Panchatattva they came, and so many other devatas, they also appeared to take association of the Supreme Lord, at the same time to participate in the Leela of the Lord and take the pleasure of being with the Lord, and also to give the mercy to the other fallen souls. Prabhupada says here, such associates of the Lord are eternally liberated souls. They cannot bear the separation of the Lord even for a moment, because intense affection for the Lord. So the affection of these devotees are so intense, they cannot bear even a moment of separation. So again, this is the inspiration for all of us. We should also aspire to become like that. We should always to be in the association devotees and association with the Lord. We never be away from the Lord. Prabhupada finally, the last sentence says, they were still more aspirant to see the Lord amongst themselves, and all of them become alert to receive him by the befitting manner. These are the signs of a spontaneous love of God. So generally in bhakti, there are two kinds of bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti is something we follow the rules and regulations. Like, for example, we follow the 4 religious principles. We do the morning Mangalarati reading, and evening Arati, Vandanas, Sandhya Vandanas, all those things. This kind of Vaidhi bhakti. And there's a Raghanuka bhakti. Raghanuka bhakti is something comes spontaneous. Yes, we follow the Vaidhi bhakti, and after the purification, certain stages, if by the mercy of Krishna, the Raganuka Bhakti. Raganuka Bhakti is something spontaneous, without any kind of direct the intention of the devotee. The bhakti comes automatically. The devotee does something spontaneously. Examples are the gopis of the Vrindavan, or certain devotees like our Srila Prabhupada, or the Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They were all the kind of spontaneous bhakti, even though Prabhupada himself has followed Vaidhi Bhakti initially, but is Saktyavisha Avatara. He is personally appeared in this world as one of Saktyavisha Avatar of the Lord. So that's why Prabhupada says these are the sign of spontaneous love for God. So this, of course, we cannot imitate. We cannot say, think that, no, I'm become a pure devotee now, I'll do whatever I want. No. We have to follow our sadhana. We have to follow rules and regulations. We have to do that. Unless the mercy of the Lord and the pure devotion comes automatically with us. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that in the 11th chapter of Krishna arriving Dwaraka is praised by the inhabitants, meets with his friends and satisfies his wives. Dharavaram in his conch Panchajanya. Dharavaram is his conch Panchajanya. Without seeing Krishna directly, their lamentation could not be completely dissipated. Thus, the word Iva somewhat is used. So this is how the separation of these devotees, but they heard the Panchajanya, the conchal blowing, they got the energy back. They started, coming back, running to see the Supreme Personality Godhead. Okay, we'll read the next sloka.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
I am allotted a second sloka. Hare Krishna. Sa uchakasve tavala uttara tara
I'll
abhi.
read for you, Prabhuji. Shall I read for you?
Please.
Text 2. Savuchakashe davalo daro api vurukramasya darasona shonima dadamyamana karakanjak sampute yatabjakande kalahamsa vutsavana.
Maybe request to the devotees, if you are allocated earlier, maybe during the day, try to read. Of course, it's not that you have to be by heart, but possible if you can read during the day, so it'll be easy during the the study time. Thank you, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The white and fat bowled conch shell being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stem of red lotus flowers. Purport: the redness of the white conch shell due to the lip touch of the Lord is a symbol of spiritual significance. The Lord is all spirit, and matter is ignorance of this spiritual existence. Factually, there is nothing like matter in spiritual enlightenment, and this spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. The Lord is present in every particle of all existence, and he can manifest his presence in anyone by ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord. Everything becomes spiritually reddened like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord. And Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent person, plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. Hare Krishna.
Further, Sutta Goswami is saying this white and fat bald conch shell being gripped by the hand of the Lord Krishna and sounded by him appeared to be reddened by the touch of his translucent lips. It seems that a white swan was playing in the stem of a red lotus flowers. So the Sutta Goswami is saying the white conch shell being touched by the lotus lips of the Supreme Lord become red. That in some other places, actually the gopis are literally, envious of this conch shell, because how fortunate that conch shell. They are envious in the transcendental envious, not the material envious. They are actually glorifying how fortunate this conch shell is, how fortunate that flute, which is always at the lips of the Supreme Lord. This is the mood, because it's not I cannot say envy. They are really, praising how fortunate this, conch shell, how fortunate the lips, this flute, because these gopis are always aspiring to see the Supreme Lord. They're always to be one with the Supreme Lord, whereas this flute is always in the body of Supreme Lord. The conch is always with him. So Padma, the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, the 400 form, Shankha, Gada, and it's always there. So this conch also with the Lord. So that's why Prabhupada says that redness of white conch shell due to lip touch of the Lord is symbol of spiritual significance. But Prabhupada says factually there's nothing like a matter in the spiritual enlightenment. In the spiritual world, everything is spiritual. There is no matter. Everything got consciousness. Even we see the Damodar Leela, the milk has got consciousness. Milk who was kept in the fire is thinking, when now Supreme Lord Krishna taking mother's milk. So he'll be full, he'll be satisfied. So who will drink me? Krishna will not take me because he is already satisfied. So what is the use of my life? So if I'm not engaged in service of Krishna, my life is useless. Let me commit suicide. This is the consciousness of milk. Milk is also thinking. So every particle, everything in the spiritual world has consciousness. So there is no material. So that can be achieved, Prabhupada writes here, by ardent love and devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually reddened like a conch shell in the grip of the Lord. So devotional service, that's ardent love and devotional service. Krishna doesn't want anything else. He wants love. He wants our time. He wants to dedicate our life. That's why he says, Sarva dharvam parityajya mameka sharanam raja ham to sarva papebhyo mokshaya sucha. He says, you give up everything. You don't be bothered. Don't be bothered your bank balance. Don't be bothered your religion. Don't bother your village. And don't be bothered about your sin also. Sarva papebhyo. Just come to me, surrender to me. I will take care. That's the pure devotional service. Anya bilashita shunya jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulena anushilana bhakti ruttam. Bhakti anukula and anushila. Without any desire, without inch of any material desire, anything for that matter. That is the bhakti. That's a pure devotional service. Everything dedicated to Supreme Lord. That's why Prabhupada says here, such Paramhamsas or supremely intelligent persons plays a part of ducking swan. He gives this analogy. So we have to aspire to become such a Parama. Of course, we cannot, again, I'm saying we cannot meditate or imitate. I cannot tomorrow say that I become Paramahamsa. No, I cannot imitate. I have to do my sadhana. I have to do my chanting. I have to do my Bhagavatam study. I have to do my service dedicated to Supreme Lord without any aspiration. That's why Prabhupada is eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's lotus feet. So our aspiration to always to serve the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. Srila Vishnu Thakur writes that conch appeared beautiful with Chakshe, being reddened by the red of his lips that continually blew it. Dadhamya manaha, the conch held in his hand was like a swan in a group of lotuses. Abja Sandhe. Okay, so we'll read one more sloka.
Shall I read, Prabhuji, or Ramesh Prabhu will read?
Anybody allocated?
Yes,
Right?
Ramesh Prabhu has been allocated, but he told he might not be able to read yesterday. I don't know whether he's ready to read today.
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ
Okay, I will
ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ
read.
ಓದ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Shruti Mataji. Go ahead.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.3. तमोपुसृत्यनीनन्दं जगद्भयाभयावहं प्रत्युद्यो प्रजा सर्व भृतेर्दर्शनालसः. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Translation: The citizens of Dwaraka, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. Purport: As already explained, the citizens of Dwaraka, who lived at the time of Lord Krishna's presence, they were all liberated souls who descended there along with the Lord as entourage. All were very anxious to have an audience with the Lord. Although because of spiritual contact, they were never separated from the Lord. Just as the gopis at Vrindavana used to think of Krishna while he was away from the village for courting engagements, the citizens of Dwarka were all immersed in thought of the Lord while he was away from Dwarka to attend the battle of Kurukshetra. Some distinguished fiction writer of in Bengal concluded that the Krishna of Vrindavana, that of Mathura, and that of Dwarka were different personalities. Historically, there is no truth in this conclusion. The Krishna of Kurukshetra and the Krishna of Dwarka are one and the same personally. The citizens of Dwarka were thus in a state of melancholy due to the Lord's absence from the transcendental city, as much as we are put in a state of melancholy at night because of the absence of the sun. The sound heralded by Lord Krishna was something like the heralding of the sunrise in the morning. So all the citizens of Dwaraka awoke from a state of slumber because of the sunrise of Krishna, and they all hastened towards him just to have an audience. The devotees of the Lord know no one else as protector. The sound of the Lord is identical with the Lord, as we have tried to explain by the non-dual position of the Lord. The material existence of our present status is full of fear. Out of the four problems of material existence, namely the food problem, the shelter problem, the fear problem, and the mating problem, the fear problem gives us more trouble than the others. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. The whole material existence is full of problems, and thus the fear problem is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusionary energy of the Lord, known as Maya or external energy. Yet all fear is vanished as soon as there is the sound of the Lord, represented by his holy name, as it was sounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can take advantage of these words and be free from all threatening problems of material existence. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Here what is being told is that when Krishna arrived into Dwaraka, there was this huge sound that was heard and which threatens anyone, like any negative energy or all these demons and all get fearful hearing the conch shell of Sri Krishna. But his devotees, they feel a rush of love and devotion towards him. That is what the residents of Dwarka felt. And they felt like when in the absence of the sun in the night, we look forward when sunrise will happen. Similarly, arrival of Krishna was like coming of the sun to the city back of Dwarka. So whenever like gopis always felt sad when Krishna went to graze the cows. Similarly, here the citizens of Dwarka always felt separated when Krishna went out for any war. Similarly, when Krishna had gone to Kurukshetra, they missed him for such a long time. So when there was a sound that Krishna, everyone awoke and everyone was so happy. They all rushed to see Krishna back in Dwarka. One writer in Bengal has told it seems like Krishna in Dwaraka, Krishna in Vrindavan, and Krishna in Mathura are all different forms. But it is not so. It is all the same personality of the Supreme Personality of God only, but in different performing different actions. Like in Dwarka, he is like a king, and in Vrindavana, he was like a child, a cowherd, and in Mathura, he was born and he killed Kamsa and reinstated his grandfather Ugrasena. So here it is being told that everyone, all the citizens felt sadness. When Krishna is there, there is no fear because Krishna is like Abhaya Hasta. He gives fearlessness to all his devotees. We have seen several number of times, whether it is the Kaliya, this thing, whether it is Putana, or so many times we have seen that Krishna always protected his devotees. So his presence itself removes fear from everyone's hearts. And also the material existence, everyone is worried about what about the food, shelter, about their life partner, who will they get, and all those stuff. But once we surrender to Krishna and chant his name, the chanting his name is equivalent to Krishna's presence itself. His name itself is his presence. His name has got so much power that it is that Krishna is present in those names which we chant. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in order to overcome the material problems, we have to always take hold of these, chanting these names always, and surrender to Lord Krishna. Then only we'll have fearlessness of all these material problems, food, shelter, old age, and all those stuff. And we will always be engaged in devotional service. And that's what I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Kindly.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So one thing, and for every activity, there is a personality. Even for the fear, there is a personality, fear personified. Like that, sin also, there's a sin personified. So every activity, there is a person behind it. But here, Krishna, who threatens or brings fearfulness to the fear personified, that Krishna is getting, feared. We can see in the Damodarashtakam. That Krishna, who can bring fears to the fear personified, is getting feared by mother stick. Here says that even such persons, he surrendered to because of the love, mother's love. Otherwise, there's no need for him to, surrender or getting scared. So Prabhupada brings out here that although because the spiritual contact, they were never separated from the Lord. All the pure devotees were enthroned. They were always with him. Maybe sometime not physically, but always mentally. Srila Prabhupada's time also, we could see that when he went to America, some devotees asked, Prabhupada, you are away from Vrindavan. You are away from your Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada said, no, I am not away from Vrindavan. I always with Vrindavan because he's always Vrindavan conscious. Wherever he went, he carried Vrindavan along with him. He said, I'm never away from my Guru Maharaj because my Guru Maharaj is always with me. So the consciousness is that the prime matter than the physical proximity. Other day, today I was hearing a lecture. The devotee is saying, there are devotees staying very close to temple, very next door, but they don't come to the temple. There are devotees staying maybe 10, 15 kilometers, but they go every day. That's the difference. So physical proximity is not the only criteria. Our consciousness is matter. How consciously we are connected with the Supreme Lord. So that's why here the citizens of Dwaraka, they were always connected with the Lord. Even the Lord went to Hastinapur, Lord went to Kurukshetra, but they were always connected. They were always thinking about Krishna. They were never were separated. So when we talk about Dwaraka, so the name Dwaraka came because of Jarasandha's and other demons' attack on Mathura. Krishna shifted all the Gopas and Gopis to this place near Gujarat, and he built a palace, each one of them, with the help of Vishwakarma. And he overnight put them inside that because here Jarasandha and others were attacking continuously. because Krishna wanted to leave Mathura and go to, Dwaraka. So that's why he brought. So when the next day morning, when gopis woke up, they were in a new place from Mathura to this here. They could not know where to go. They started asking, Dwarakaha, means where is the door? Dwarka. That's why the place is called Dwaraka. Because they were looking for to come out from the palace. Where is the door? Dwaraka. So that's how the place Dwaraka came. And Prabhupada brings out here wonderful point. The sound of the Lord identical with the Supreme Lord. With this, we'll stop. So Supreme Lord's sound vibration, the chanting the holy name is non-different, especially for Kali Yuga. Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. Kali Yuga, Krishna's name, chanting the holy name is non-different, not just non-different, it's more powerful than Krishna, more powerful than Lord Ram. The name, just chanting the holy name. That's why Prabhupada emphasizes attentive chanting as much as possible. Attentive chanting. Prabhupada says, out of the four problems, like the the this the this one, what is that? Food problem and shelter problem. This one, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So these are the problems, and this one you're talking about the eating, meeting, sleeping, mating. This the four activities, but out of which he is talking about the fear. Fear is because generally people are fearful of losing our own material things, our own life, or so many other things. But Prabhupada concludes here that everything can be solved just by chanting the holy name, just by surrender to the holy name. Holy name is a Prabhu, Nama Prabhu. Just taking the holy name, we can get rid of all the problems. Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur says, the conch gives a fear to the fear of this material existence. So that just by chanting or just by blowing the conch, the whole fear can run away from this material world. So, and similarly, just by chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This pure sign vibration can dissipate all the ignorance, all the material problems, and bring spiritual consciousness to our life. With this, I'll stop here. Devotees can share your thoughts, comments. Sumit Prabhu, did I miss anything? Please share.
No, Prabhuji, I think you covered all the topics very well. So, yeah, so whatever I understood is like whenever Lord descends to this world, his eternal associates always come with him as an entourage, and they are eternally connected to the Lord, so they cannot let the Lord be away for even small time. So that's why there was a sense of separation, and because the Lord went to the for the war, and they come back, and he come back after a long time. So that separation caused them sorrow, much like how the world feels there. Like we can say, the absence of sun at night, how you will feel. And another point is like about the sound of the Lord's presence, like the holy name of the Lord. So that is actually transcendental and powerful. So that acts as a hope, as a sign of hope and liberation for us. So it is not different from the Lord. So in the material world, we have certain issues like fear and the four main problems of material existence, Janmrityu Jara Vyadhi. And in that, fear is the most troubling because it is coming from ignorance. So when the sound of that, our Harinam, when it is chanted, it removes all the fear and the material anxieties. So one should always chant the holy name of the Lord, and by that he can transcend the problems of material life and be free from fear. Yes, true.
Krishna. Rajaratnam Prabhu, any points?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, those who have come along with Krishna, when they also descend along with Krishna, they are all Nitya Atmas. They already attained the Mukti. So they felt the separation of Krishna. So likewise in Vrindavan, even Yasoda felt the same thing, because when she decorated him very well and she sends him to the for
Gracing the cover.
yeah, so she will also expect when Krishna will be back in the evening. So likewise, the gopis will also, they cannot see him, they can see him only when he goes and comes back. So they all feel the same kind of separation. So, however, what I say is, because when we glorify Krishna, even when you are discussing about this Bhagavatam, or when you are doing kirtans, so Bhagavan is always with us, because he is there always to hear his all his whenever you call his name, namas. So he is there always, wherever the Bhagavatam is conducted or kirtan is there, he will be there. So we have to, we cannot see that, because we are all covered in Maya. So we also have to come to that stage, and we need so much, as you said, we have to come to that Ravana Bhakti stage. So at that time, I think we can also, to some extent. So we need to do a lot of service to Bhagavan. So that's what I feel.
Prabhu. So nice. Yeah. Others like Umar Shankar Prabhu, say anything. Varsha Mataji. Oh, okay. Umar Shankar Prabhu, go ahead. No.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So in this, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantras, that power of Maha Mantra has been today's the takeaway, and also the beautifully it is described that how the conch shell is blown by Lord Krishna, and it is represented that the swan is in the lotus feet, lips are like the lotus. Prabhuji. So we should be mainly concentrating on the association of the devotees, as well as we have to chant seriously, at least to have some devotional connection. Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Varsha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So today's takeaway for me is surrender to the Krishna, even he will forgive our sins also. And likewise, at least I have to do attentive Nama Japa, and that's what I understood Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sridevi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Uh,
So upon entering the Dwarka, Lord blew the conch shell, and all the devotees were very happy to see him. When Lord descends on the earth, he alone doesn't come. All the demigods and all the other associates also come along with him, because they cannot bear the separation from the Lord. And the redness of the white conch shell is due to the lip touch of the Lord. The Lord is all spirit. The citizens of Dwarka, having heard that sound from Krishna, all the devotees were very anxious to see the Lord, and all the demons got feared. But the devotees, because of spiritual contacts, they were never separated from the Lord. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Shruti Mataji, anything?
Nothing, Prabhu. Everyone covered. Thanks.
Mariappan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Conch shell is auspicious in spiritual practice and removes all negative energy and enables positive energy. And I must also develop the mood to always associate with the devotees. I should not miss any chances. Every chance be utilized for association of devotees, and Vaidhi Bhakti leads to Radhanuka Bhakti is spontaneous, and don't bother about anything, everything, and surrender unconditionally to Supreme Lord. And consciousness of spiritual contact with the Supreme Lord will ensure attachment of relationship and chanting of holy name of Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. That much I understood.
Archana Mataji, anything? Asha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, understood Prabhuji. The importance of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Understood. Thank you Prabhuji.
Thank you. Asha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the importance of chanting and knowing the importance of chanting is like an inspiration to chant more and more rounds and then do it attentively. Then also the importance of conscience in the spiritual world. That's the takeaway for today, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for joining. So we'll end here. Mancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyavach patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. I end the call today. Thank you.
Thank you for the class.